Hi, folks. Dana Torgersen, Director of Security here at Sumo Logic. Welcome to our Geeks and Gurus session. This is the Summer of Cybersecurity conversation. With me today, I've got Enrico Benzoni, manager of our technical alliances, and I've also got Fabian Rodriguez with us in technical marketing, both also with me here at Sumo Logic. I know that we're in different locations. So, Fabian, Enrico, welcome.
Thank you, Dana. Good to be here.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Fabian, I think I'm here in California. You're coming in. You're Southern California, right?
Correct. I am in Southern California in the Orange County area.
Oh, nice. And Enrico, you're coming all the way across the water. You're live just east of Milan?
Yeah, so I'm in the East Coast, but in Italy. Yeah, right.
Well said. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for joining me today. It means a lot. I'll go ahead and make sure I've got my clock here. I want to make sure that we're conscious of everybody's time here. Thank you, folks, for joining. We know, if we get into it here, we know that summertime can be a great opportunity. I mean, this is the time of year where cyber criminals ramp up their phishing attacks. They perform CEO spoofing attacks because, let's be honest, so many employees are either out on holiday, just came back from holiday, or have a mountain of emails to still sift through, or they're thinking about their next weekend of camping or amusement parks with the family, and nobody really knows where their CEO actually is. Yet they're texting you saying, "Hey, I can't talk now because I'm in a meeting, but can you please approve this electronic payment?" So, Fabian, let me start with you. What does the summer of cybersecurity look like to you? What's the current threat landscape, and what are you hearing about?
So thank you, Dana. So I'll start with saying yes, summer is vacation time. I mean, even the bad guys need to find where to go on vacation and spend their money, right? You know, we know that the bad actors are definitely out there, and they do go on vacation. Um, One of the things that I see nowadays is the ventures, the new ventures that are happening nowadays with the threat landscape. I mean, the target now is shifted from the on-prem to cloud, right? So as organizations are moving into cloud, they create a much larger target for the bad actors. I mean, just case in point, recently, about a month or so ago, we saw the guys at Cato Security. If you follow those guys, they discovered the first malware that was specifically targeting the Lambda functions out there. So we know how widely that is used. And so with that, obviously the threat landscape is kind of shifting into those APIs and the API gateways and the web applications now being kind of the main target out there. Still targeting the credentials, still searching for that foot on the door, right? But I noticed that being a new avenue that I have noticed.
Interesting. Now, Enrico, you're in Italy there, so I gotta say, it always feels like Europe goes dark from May to September for holidays. But I'm sure cyber criminals, they don't stop, right? What is the cybersecurity landscape like in summertime there for you?
Yeah, everyone is hoping to go on vacation, and everyone wants to come in Italy in vacation. So I hope a cyber criminal not. But unfortunately, the attacks are not stopping. And what we are seeing in Europe is an intensification of attack as well. So basically, there's a proliferation of the same type of attack because also attackers use the automation, and they are using also the supply chain to enter in the organization. So they basically today you have to be harder to attack than others. That is the real fact.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Now, so Fabian, I know here in the States, and this is also, it happens to be summertime, so this is also top of mind. You just have to turn on the news, and you can hear about all the recent inflationary concerns, the dwindling value of a dollar, predictions of $8 a gallon gas, or at least here in California, where we live. What do you think security and compliance teams are doing around their budgeting amidst a recession? And should they even dare think about like scaling back some of their budget or some of their spend?
Yeah, definitely not. That's not what I would advise, right? In fact, if I go back in the 2008 times, very similar times that we're having today, right? I mean, I just filled up my tank the other day. It used to cost me $90, right? And now it costs me $150 to fill up my tank. And I remember back in those days in 2008. But if you go back and you look at the statistics, right? Actually, information security budgets went up, and security companies that were providing security services and products, they did pretty good, right? I think these are times where you really want to ramp up, right? These are the times that you want to ramp up your security, especially with the new threat landscape out there. So definitely want to think about that toolbox and what are the tools that you want to have. Definitely perfect time to start evaluating new products, in my opinion.
Okay, Enrico.
Yeah, so the budget is a very good topic. So basically, you have to increase your cybersecurity budget because the cybersecurity has to protect the business, and the business evolving, adding new innovation. There's the digital transformation, so you have to protect a lot of different area. And how you can improve the budget? You have to improve the cybersecurity culture. So you have to be sure that the cyber team is not the only one responsible for cyber attack, because this is not the real fact. So all the firm, all the organization, all the people are responsible for a cybersecurity, and cybersecurity awareness must to be improved, and every department has to be held accountable. Then you have, when you start a new project, you have to add cybersecurity to the budget of the other department project. So if you have to add a new app, if you have to add new devices, if you have to develop a new tool, machinery, IoTs, devices, you have to be sure that the department that start the project add also a voice in the budget, in their budget, cybersecurity. So you can offer your services to them. So basically, the CISO nowadays has to be a real manager. Is not just a technician. Is someone that has to talk with the board, has to talk with the people, has to talk in technical details, because is a very cybersecurity is a very technical issue. But the language that you have to use is not the technical language inside your organization. Makes sense?
That does. It's interesting that you raised the comments that, I mean, cybersecurity, I think we do know that it's everybody has to have some skin in the game. And so if you start thinking about like, well, now we need to cut because of maybe there's some inflationary concerns, and well, how does one cut out something that should be entrenched across the board? Where would you cut? And so you're raising a good point that this is really an area, and that's what you're mentioning, Fabian. This is probably an area that's, if anything, you should be increasing the spend, not looking for ways to cut. Maybe there's areas for redundancy. Maybe if folks are looking at their tool sets and the data that they're bringing in, maybe there's some overlap. Maybe if you take a look before you're ahead of your next audit cycle, that you look at your data sources and you realize that maybe you're ingesting multiple different things, different ways. Maybe that might be a clear area to cut right there. Maybe the verbosity and the detail level of the logs that you're bringing in. Maybe it's costing you more than it needs to for the amount of context that you're getting for it. But conversely, if you're screaming for needing more context and visibility into your threat landscape and understand your security posture, you might need to turn up the verbosity, which then, again, you need to throw some good money at that, not be cutting money, even though the dwindling value of the dollar. And I have to imagine, too, that if I were to weigh in on this, two things are not going to change just because the inflation is here, or we're whatever months into a recession, depending on how the economic experts measure it. Two things are consistent. Compliance is not going away. And if you cut compliance, just beware that if you lose your certification, you could be facing steep fines, penalties, fees, just the loss of all that effort you've done to achieve that particular regulatory certification. So that fee, that cost might wipe out any savings that you thought you could get from your cost-cutting approach or attempt. And the other thing is threats. Threats aren't going away.
Right.
And if we think about if it hurts us, and it's definitely hurting Fabian, because apparently Fabian, it sounds like you've got a V20 truck or something that takes a lot of cylinders and a lot of gas. I'm joking.
Yeah. 26 gallons.
26. Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is interesting, because as you feel your dollar is worth less, attackers, bad actors, they must be feeling like they're not getting much value for their dollar. So we have to assume and prepare that they're just going to up their ante. They're going to reach deeper with their ransomware spread, and they're going to reach deeper into trying to do supply chain attacks and propagate their attacks. So oh, please. Yeah.
One last thing, Dana, before we end on this topic here. You can't help but think, right? If you go back in, maybe 5-10 years ago, maybe
Mhm.
more, the bad actors were really just about bragging rights, right? I remember, I don't know
Yep.
if you remember the IRC servers, right? Internet related chat servers. That was way before, instant messengers came about, right? You will
Yep.
log into these IRC servers, and you basically, the bad actors will be on these channels just bragging about taking a website down or something like
Yeah.
that. So that turned into nowadays monetary reasons,
Yeah.
right? So yes, these are times where now we're gonna possibly see a spike, right? Because the bad actors are gonna need the money, right? They want more
Yeah.
money, right? So
Yep.
they're leveraging machine learning algorithms now to launch their attacks, right? The discovery by Cato is the perfect example, right? The new malware targeting those Lambda functions, right? That's huge, right? Never
Oh
seen
yeah.
before, and I think we're going to see a little bit more of that.
Yeah. That serverless services attacks, that is some just that's nightmares. That would keep a lot
Game
of
changer.
CISOs, I think. Yeah. Well, Enrico, I'm sure some of our viewers out here, they struggle with improving their threat investigations and their response times. I think that's pretty par for the course. I think we all would feel that we could do better. And I bet a lot of the folks feel that investing in a SOAR solution, it's probably crossed their minds. If not, they've already invested in it. But maybe what we're hearing is that they're overly cautious. And maybe rightly so, that I don't know if they would actually want to totally automate all of their response processes. So how could organizations make sure that they strike that right balance between automation and human intervention?
Yeah, the human intervention is fundamental. So when you have to implement a SOAR, you have a start from the processes. So you have to have a clear idea of the processes that you have to you have to automate, because
Okay.
a process has to work manually, and then you can think to use the automation, and this is the safer way that you can use. For sure, you have to start in automating the enrichment part of the investigation. Collect every information you can in a few minutes. So the analyst with the SOAR change the perspective on how it works. Basically, before he used to analyze in many different tools the information. With the SOAR, you just have a look on the collected information that has to appear in one place, and you have to have the possibility to orchestrate many different tools inside structured processes. But not only, you can also have the possibility to ask for specific action. So if you are not sure of a result of an investigation, you can activate other playbooks, or you can just activate specific action of a specific tool to obtain a specific result that allow you to think out of the box, you to think what happened and take decisions.
Now, that actually makes sense. So what are some of the, maybe more for the audience, what are some of the common things that a security team might start with? What would they automate first and,
Yeah.
and then lead up to? What type of activities or actions or processes come to
Yeah,
mind?
for sure. So when you start automation project, you have
Yeah.
to start from the processes, as we said. Then you have to analyze the tools that you have to use inside that processes, and then you can start using the automation for sure, fully automation for the enrichment and notification. So that is the first step. Leaving the containment actions after a user choice, because when you have to contain something, you have to clear identify what happened, and with the SOAR you can collect everything in a few minutes, and then you can have a look on the information and you can block the threats. Or in a phishing, we talked about that, you have to identify the right moment. So when a short group of people receive a specific phishing attack, it is the right moment to make a fake attack to all the organization on the same topic. So you arrive first, than the attacker. So just an example. So if you have an awareness tool that generate phishing attack, you can take the template you receive and immediately create a phishing attack for all the company. Or if you have a process that send a notification to be aware of a specific type of email, you can do that immediately. So you have to act in real time.
That actually makes sense too. And when it comes to the containment and remediation activities, that's where it gets a little hairy. Folks might not want to just fully automate everything because, heaven forbid you knock the CEO's laptop off, offline, and are trying to remediate something, that might be something that's innocuous, or maybe it's a mistake, maybe it's a false positive, and here you are. He or she doesn't have their machine for a couple of minutes, couple of hours. That could be a bad day for an analyst, right?
Yeah, that is called a self-inflicted denial service.
Yeah.
right.
Well put. Well, I've got a couple more questions for you fellas here. Like, we hear cybersecurity professionals and CISOs talking about that, in the conversations that I've had with customers, that they want to modernize their security operations. What does that mean to you guys? What's the first step, you think, in taking a modern approach to SecOps within an enterprise?
So I'll take that. I mean, so if you really go back and you look at the three main principles of information security, being the CIA, right? Confidentiality, integrity, and availability, right? You cannot secure something that is not available, right? So you definitely want to have that availability, that health monitoring for especially your now cloud infrastructures that have become so critical for organizations to deliver their goods, to deliver their services. Right. So I think bringing it all together, right? Your toolbox should always have something that is that big umbrella that is collecting all your data and then putting some intelligence around it. But definitely that observability, that health monitoring, that reliability and scalability needs to be there, right? The environment and your websites and your web applications, they not only need to be secure, but they need to be also available, right? So monitoring the whole spectrum with something like a SAM solution comes to mind is something that definitely should be in every toolbox out there.
That actually makes sense. If you're going to evolve all that information, you've got to bring it along together. I mean, just because, the different lines of your business saying, yeah, we're going to go do digital transformation, we're migrating to AWS, we're jumping on the GCP, the security team, they're still kind of left on the hook to secure it, whether they were involved in that decision to do this great, initiative or not. Enrico, you had a thought on that too?
Yeah, if you so for example, if a tool doesn't work, that don't generate the logs, the SIEM can generate alerts, the SOAR can't ingest alerts, and you have not the possibility to identify potential threats. So the monitoring is fundamental, and you can use the automation also for that. So you can use the SOAR, for example, not only for cybersecurity. You can also create processes for OT, for IT. You can, where you have structured processes in which there are to respond to alerts with different tools and with this time-consuming activities, the SOAR is perfect for doing that.
So I'm hearing some themes here when it comes to modernizing your security operations, I guess maybe what they're talking about is clearly there's a collaborative effort, just making sure that the whole team is actually talking to each other. And it's not just the security team. It sounds like there's the need to be making sure the DevOps team is talking, HR, legal, finance. If you have a solution or a platform where everybody can come in and see the same darn data, that right there sounds collaborative in itself. But then looking to technology to automate these processes, look at the existing processes and workflows and look for optimizations and streamlining. Because I think we all know that there's not enough bodies to go around. We're not going to hire our way out of this problem. There's no magical pool of temporary staff of security experts that you can just drop in like ninjas. I mean, these have to be
Yep.
groomed, and you have to
Right.
retain these high paid talent too. So
Right.
I know that different companies are always looking for that. Well, I've got one.
Yeah, and
Oh, go
Dana,
ahead.
one last thought there. I mean, I
Sure.
always tell my customers, hey, let the machines do the heavy lifting, right?
Mm,
We're
yeah.
not trying to replace bodies, right? We're
Yeah.
trying to collaborate. But as we collaborate, leveraging automation is going to make us more efficient when we're doing investigations, right? So there is a misconception that automation is going to remove or minimize your full-time employees in the SOC, for example. Not
Yeah.
really, right?
Yeah.
I always tell customers, yeah, leverage automation, right? And then collaborate, especially when it comes to the bad guys now leveraging machine learning algorithms to launch their attacks and write their bad code, right? The malicious code that can get infiltrated in organizations, right? So we
Yeah.
need to get smart too and start automating things like Enrico was just mentioning.
Well,
Yeah, guys.
that kind of leads into my last question, actually. Like, what's the next area of IT or even security technology that viewers should be like keeping an eye out for? Enrico, I'll start with you.
Yeah, just to finish the the idea around the collaboration. So the
Yeah.
it's a real thing that analysts love their job. No, it's the unique reason why they can do what they are doing, because they
Yeah.
manage many different tools. They are overwhelmed and they suffer the burnout, so that they have to take care, because it's a very interesting job, but they suffer a lot. And using the automation, you can skip what they have to do and not what they love to do. So that is
Mm.
the difference. So when we talk about modernization of security is
Yeah.
something. And coming back to you, so the
Oh,
visibility.
new technologies, latest technologies that you're seeing, or
Yeah,
what we
so
should look for. Yeah.
before to go in the new technology, you have to use properly what you have already have. And then if you work on the processes, you have a look what you need. If you need to add a tool that give you specific visibility on DDoS attack, if you have a structured process in which you have the visibility, that's something missing. So
Yeah.
and then you have to be aligned on the business, where they are going, what they have to protect. And here the technology is something that can help. There's the deception, that is a new technology. There's
Yeah.
the OT that is growing, the operational, that before was isolate solutions. Now, thanks to the digitalization, they are moving to the cloud as well, so that you
Yeah.
have the production environment in the cloud, and you have to protect with new tools, new architectures. So that is the some key point, hot point that is important to take care.
Okay, Fabian, I'll give you the last word.
So I'm going to leave it like this, right? Yes, there are always going to be more tools in your toolbox, right?
Sure.
There's always going to be a new technology out there that's going to help you with your day-to-day job, with securing your organizations, monitoring your organizations. But how good are those tools if you're not bringing them all together into a reliable, cloud native, central location, not only for aggregating the data, but also to put some intelligence on top of it and also allow you to respond in an automatic fashion. I think that's the tool to have for sure.
Yeah,
That's something good to look out for. Well, at this point, I think we can wrap things up here. Thank you again, gentlemen, taking the time out of your day, both Enrico, Fabian.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Data. Good to be
Now,
here.
folks,
Thank you for inviting.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate your time. And I also want, if you folks want to learn more about what we're doing here at Sumo, I know we didn't get a chance to really talk about our solutions, and not that we have to, because for everything relating to security that we do, you can check out our Illuminate user conference. It's actually coming up on September 13th and 14th. It's virtual and it's free. Now, we just opened up registration, so head on over to sumologic.com/illuminate. There you can check out what you'll see at this year's Illuminate conference, some highlights from last year's event. And when you're ready, just smash that register for free button to get involved and mark your calendar. Now, finally, want to also give a quick shout out to all of our amazing customers, and thank you from everyone here at Sumo Logic. With that, have a great day, folks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.